Hi, this is Miss White, and I'm really excited because we're starting a new unit today. Unit 1 is called Identity, and I'll talk more about what that is later. So remember, from now on, you're always looking for lessons marked 1 point something. You're not doing any more of the 0 point something lessons because 0 was from Unit 0 and now we're in Unit 1. Our first lesson in Unit 1 is going to be some of the basics. I want to make sure you know what is ESOL and what is the WIDA. So what does ESOL mean? Well, ESOL is an acronym. So an acronym is when you can spell something with the parts that make it up. So ESOL stands for English for Speakers of Other Languages. Everyone in this class speaks at least 2 languages. Some of you maybe you feel better with English than your other language, and that's totally okay. It means you're still learning English, and that's fine. How can ESOL help me? Well, ESOL will help you with your English language skills in reading, writing, listening, speaking, and vocabulary. So there are 2 parts of any language. Receptive skills, you can see in this little chart, and productive skills. So receptive skills are about, do you understand the language? When you're listening to people talk or reading what they've written, can you understand? And productive is, can you make that language? Can you speak and write? And can other people understand you? So usually the ones that people learn first are the receptive skills, and then they add on the productive skills. But for some of you, maybe you're good at one thing and not at the other, or maybe you're pretty good at everything equally, and that's all okay. We'll practice all of them in this class. What is the WIDA? So the WIDA is a test that all ESOL students take in February or March. Not all ESOL students, but if you look at the map, you can see that all of the ESOL students in all of those states take the WIDA test. The WIDA test has 4 parts. Basically what I just said before: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. There's not a vocabulary test because the people who create the WIDA want you to use vocabulary in all of those areas. Then they add up all of your scores to make an overall score. Just so you guys know, reading and writing are the biggest parts of your score. So if you got a perfect listening and speaking, that doesn't mean that you would get a high score if your reading and writing were lower. There's like some complicated math to figure that out. Once you have your overall score, your ESOL level and which class you'll be in next year is figured out by the school. What level are you? Well, you're probably a 3 or a 4. It's based on your WIDA scores, and I'm going to meet with you soon one-on-one to share your score. And you'll see all of your scores, so maybe like your reading is higher than your writing or the opposite, and you'll be able to make goals for this year based on last year's score. So your goal for this year is to get a 4.4 overall on the WIDA test. If you get a 4.4, we don't really call it passing, but it means that you never have to take the WIDA again. So that's a really good thing. You'll also get another elective, which is awesome. You might have an English class with 2 teachers like you do this year. That just means that they still want to support your English learning needs, but you don't need a whole class for it. Here's a little preview for our first unit on identity. The big question we're going to think about is what makes us who we are. The vocabulary we'll focus on is distinguishing, that's a vocabulary word, between social and academic language. In reading, we're going to work on making connections, which really you've been doing since you were a little kid. You're just going to be using evidence and making maybe better connections than you have. And then in writing, you're going to work on adding specific details to your writing to really make it come alive. So before we go, I want you to think about your positive or sunny thoughts. How can ESOL help you? How can it help you in your other classes? How could it help you in general? Now I want you to think about the negative or stormy thoughts you might have about being an ESOL. Everybody has thoughts like this, it's totally okay. What negative thoughts have you had about being an ESOL? How can you reframe them? Reframing a thought is thinking about the thought in a different way. For example, if you said, I worry that I'll always be an ESOL, you can say, I will focus on how I can meet my goals when I try my best. So you can use these sentence starters to help you with your stormy thought reframing. So if you said, I worry that being an ESOL means I'm dumb, you can say instead, I will focus on how being an ESOL means I know 2 languages, and that is a strength. Do you see how that works? Now you guys try it. Thanks for watching.